President and CIO from Shriram Life Insurance is now with us to talk about markets, valuations, flows, strategy. Ajit, thank you very much for joining in. This is Rima here. So let's start with the strategy. It's been a very volatile first half, but as we speak, from April lows, we've managed a very strong pullback recovery. How do you expect the second half of the year to pan out, and what would your top bets be?
So first of all, Nima, good afternoon and thanks for having me in the show. I think at first I would like to offer my heartfelt condolences for those family members who have lost their life yesterday, and prayer for those who are recovering. So as far as markets are concerned, yes, even last year also we saw there has been a mixed trend as far as the performance is concerned. First 6 months saw phenomenal performance, even market reaching its peak. Second half, again, we were seeing that there was a pullback which happened because of the excessive valuations, earnings not living up to it, as well as the news of Trump coming in that potentially influenced the investors to once again fly back to safety, as well as which is the reason why money moved back to US. Now, coming to March, once the new, President Trump version 2 took over with the series of announcements and the uncertainty which therefore developed, and the US markets also became quite stretched for that matter. So we again saw money again moving back to India. So fundamentally, I think Indian markets are looking pretty good, while the external shocks remain. But because India predominantly is a, domestic-oriented economy, that's where it is, I think, gaining the strength, as well as fundamentals are looking very good in the sense that there are certain tailwinds which are there. With even the inflation under check, it has come down at 2.82 from 3.16, what we saw. Fiscal deficit is well under control. Even the forex deposits are going good. Monsoon, while there is a thaw in its progress, but apart from that, I think, as of now, there is no, trimming down of the forecast that we are seeing. So, and at the same time, RBI is very supportive with its, what we are saying, using the words bazooka, what they have actually announced in the last MPC meeting, which one didn't expect, except for the fact that, the change of stance is something which possibly, is something which has a bit dimmed the market, because of which we saw the debt market actually reacting negatively, and the trend continues. So,
Ajit,
yeah.
Ajit, sorry to cut you in. We're running out of time. So with this developments that have taken place today, the tailwinds that you were talking about, the rise in crude oil prices, does that alter the need for a bit of caution in the near term? Because now these tailwinds might just become a temporary headwind, even if it is temporary, because the current account deficits will fluctuate, inflation might rise because of this rise in crude oil prices, and the significant rise at that. Would you warrant some near-term caution right now?
Definitely one has to be cautiously optimistic. That's the word I would like to use. But at the same time, if you would have seen that even the level at which the government has budgeted for the crude, it has not yet touched that level. So there is a bit of a buffer which still is there. Even when the rates were, at its lower level, there was no rate cut which was at the consumer level which was passed on. So I think government is operating with that. So I suppose until unless it crosses or touches the 90 plus level, there's not much to be worried. But definitely as an investor, we need to be mindful and watchful about how the trends are going, and the geopolitical crisis also has other ramification in terms of the risks, as well as the supply chain costs and all that we need to be watchful of.
Ajit, a lot of these tariff-related sectors as well, right, that have been facing this uncertainty. Now that there was this tariff uncertainty already, now you're coming up with this additional headwind as well. When with President Trump announcing that he might just end up announcing some unilateral tariffs over the next week or 10 days. And he's also considering the idea of doubling auto tariffs over the next few days. Now, what does that do to a sector like auto? Because not pretty much, you already have this one headwind of lack of domestic demand on ground, and now you face an additional headwind of tariffs. What do you do in a sector like that?
So I think, auto certainly is something which is, as our in-house view is a bit, pessimistic about it at this point of time, because there are headwinds in terms of the, input cost, as well as even for the EV sector, there is uncertainty about rare earth magnets and all that. Plus this, export, opportunities also are getting limited. So I think there would be near term some amount of, I would say, not so favorable terms for the sector. So that's the reason one needs to be, avoiding it at this point of time for any fresh exposure, or rather cut short the position also if there is, need arises. So.
What about some of these PSU names, Ajit? They've been the talk of the town over the last 1 month.
Yeah, so
particularly in
PSU actually,
railways.
interestingly, I think first 6 months were doing well. Then in the last year, then next 6 months, again it found it out of the favor. Then again, after this geopolitical crisis in our country has taken, I think, and some of their companies their products had been demonstrated. It was almost like a practical application of their products, which has so that's the reason it has ignited a lot of interest now. And I think there is a merit in their capacities as well as their quality. So I think that is what is something once again has brought it back to the limelight. And I guess that is going to be, because any strong nation needs to fortify themselves adequately. And it has, I think India has shown that resilience, and that is what actually is helping the sector pretty well.
All right, Ajit, thank you so much for sparing time and joining us today. Looking forward to having you more often on the platform. Ajit Banerjee there of Shriram Life Insurance. Take a short break. More on the markets on the other side. Stay tuned.